Today we're going to work on a color work of the Polka Dot mini Christmas stocking. Today I'm going to show you how to make a mini Christmas stocking ornament. Not only can it be used for an ornament, but also garland or to put a gift inside. They're about 5 inches long, 3 inches wide, and I'm just using my yarn stash. I happen to have loops and threads, impeccable yarn. I have a bunch of that because I've been making a bunch of Christmas ball ornaments like these and these. This one you can get on my YouTube channel, a free tutorial for this pattern. But they're really fun to make, and so I'm really into the Christmas mode. I've made some other stockings here and then just plain ones here, but today we're going to work on a color work of the Polka Dot mini Christmas stocking. So to get started, you'll need 3 colors. I really like the colors of this. So I'm going to just do the reverse, and I'm going to make the base color red and the polka dots the blue, and the trim will be green still. You might not want a 3rd color for the trim, that's up to you. I'm going to be using size 6 double pointed needles, and I have a crochet hook just on the side just for weaving in yarn tails. You can use a tapestry needle if you want. And then I will list the pattern link below, or you can just screenshot this pattern here. And then to begin, let's see. Oh, I have a stitch marker too, just if that's something that helps you remember where the round begins. And I'm going to start with the trim color, and I'm going to cast on 30 stitches. I'll do that with a long tail cast on. This is plenty of yarn for 30 stitches. I know there's a rule of thumb for casting on, but I just take a couple strands and that's good enough for me. Oops, 10. Alright, here's 30 stitches. Just count to make sure you have the correct number of stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay, I've got 30 stitches and way too long a yarn tail, so I'll cut this off so there's just about 6 inches of yarn tail remaining. And then I'm going to divide this evenly. I'm going to put them on 3 needles. You can choose to use 4 needles if that makes you more comfortable. I'm just going to put 10 stitches on each needle. And I'll start at the end. There's needle 1 and needle 2. And then needle 3 already has the remaining 10 stitches. And then I'm going to start my row by making sure all the bumps of the stitches are facing towards the inside. And then I'm going to start my first stitch with the double pointed needles. Make sure the yarn's in the back. And then connecting it in the first row is always wobbly. And you're just going to knit all the stitches in this first row. Snug that first stitch so that there's not a gap in between the first round. And if you do have a little bit of a gap, you can use your excess yarn tail to sew that in and tighten it at the end. This will get more comfortable after the first couple rounds, but first it's a little awkward. Get this one out of the way. You might be able to hear my laundry being done. Okay, so I do have a little bit of a gap here from between the needle number 3 and needle number 1, but I will take care of that when I finish by cinching that in with this yarn tail. So I'm just going to mark with my stitch marker where the beginning of the row is, just to remind myself so I don't have to think about it. But if you don't have a stitch marker, just use your yarn tail as the guide. So I'm going to knit 2 more rows in the trim. And when you're starting to the next needle, just snug that stitch, that first stitch on the new needle so that it doesn't leave a gap. Okay, row number 2 is done. So we'll do 1 more row. And if you already know how to do all this and you just want the pattern, you can comment mini stocking in the comment section of this video, and I'll send you a link to a PDF that you can then download so you can see the instructions for yourself. One more needle. Remember to snug that stitch after you make it. Okay, I've done 3 rows. Here are the 3 rows of the trim yarn. And now I'm going to cut this yarn. I'll leave again a 6-inch yarn tail because I'm going to weave that in on this first needle. So I'm going to take the base color, which is going to be the red. These are great ornaments to make with stash yarn. If you're looking to, what should I do? Any ornaments like these. Look, here's my huge ornament here. It's not very pretty, but it was something I sampled, which I loved. This one's a good one though. Okay, back to the stocking. So now I'm going to take my base yarn for the first stitch, and I'm going to attach the yarn by just folding a 6-inch yarn tail onto that first needle like that, and then just knit it like you normally would. And now I'm going to weave in both the red yarn tail and the green yarn tail that I have cut. So I'm going to alternate those by crossing it over the working yarn. So here's the working yarn. I'm going to cross the green over it and then knit the stitch, and then I'll cross the red and knit the stitch, and keep alternating the yarn tails for about 6 stitches should do it. And now I'll just continue this row, and I'm going to knit 2 rows of the solid color yarn. Snug that. Okay, I did the first row, and the green yarn on that last stitch is a little loose, and all I have to do is tug the green yarn tail and tug the red yarn tail, and that'll tighten the round. And to make it so there's not a jog in the stitch where it becomes uneven with the new color, I'm going to do the first stitch of needle 1 and take the stitch below it of the green stitch, and I'm going to pull that stitch to the top so there's a green and red stitch together, and knit those 2 together, and that'll help create an illusion so there's not like a bump in the stripes. It's not going to completely fix it, but it will help neaten it up. And I'll do 1 more row. What I just did was called a jogless stripe. So if you need to learn more about that, you can Google that. Okay, I'll just show you what I've done so far. So I've just done the two rows, the first two rows of the base, so right here, and now I'm going to start the chart pattern, which is right here, and I'm going to start on row 1 of the chart. Actually, on this chart, I've shown row 1 and row 2 are the two solid rows, and now I'm going to start the polka dots, which will be row 3. And I'll use the polka dot color of the blue to attach to this row here. Okay, so we'll start on row 3, and I'm gonna knit 1 in the solid color, 2 in the button color, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then the repeat will be 2, 8, 2, 8, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2, 8, 2, 8, 2. And we'll start with the first color. Where are we? In the row. I'm going to attach the polka dot color, even though I'm not using it yet. I'm just going to put it in there to start the process. And then the next stitch is going to be 2 of the blue, and I'm going to also weave in this yarn tail a little bit. So 1, 2, and then I've got, how many did I count? 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 spaces. And that's a long float, so I'm going to break that up by doing it in 3 stitches. I'm going to twist the yarn. And I just saw something recently on TikTok or YouTube about how to carry the floats. And there's other ways to do it, but I'm just doing it randomly because this is just a little stocking and it doesn't need much fuss, and it comes out perfectly fine the way I'm doing it, but you might have another way that you like to carry the floats. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 7, one more stitch. Just remember to carry the float as you go, so it's not a long yarn strand that's in between the 8 stitches. And then we've got 2 of the blue. And 8 red. There's really good ways to carry floats that are more technical than what I do. 2, 4, 6, 7. And I think if you learn a more proper way to carry the floats for things like sweaters or where you're going to see bumps, it will matter. But for this Christmas stocking ornament, don't get too concerned with it. It's not going to ruin the project at all. Any way that you decide to carry it is going to work. Now we're on row 2, and then we'll continue working this chart, and I'll show you each section as we go. So the next row is going to start 4 blue, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6 is the repeat. So we got blue, and then 6, and I'm going to carry the float closer to that transition from needle 2 to needle 3 or needle 1 to needle 2, just because it makes the turning of the needles or the transitioning to the next needle a little easier. And we've got 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, and then this is going to be blue. Get some yarn. Oops, 2, 4, 6. Look, I only did one blue here, so I already made a mistake, but I'll show you how we'll correct that. First we'll do the first blue and the second blue. And since I made that mistake here, I'm just going to release that stitch. And I'm going to have this float here, but I'll show you how I correct that too. And I'm going to pick up the blue that was behind it. And then together I'm going to knit those, but let me put that back on the left needle. And then to catch that loose float, I'm just going to put the yarn right on top like that. And then that should fix it. Let's see how it looks. Well, I think that's okay. Let me redo that one, because the red shouldn't be on top. Whoops. There. Let's see how that looks. Much better. And then one more blue. And then 6 red. So that's the second row of the polka dot. And the row 5 of this is the same, so you're just going to repeat exactly what you see on the previous row. This is a pretty quick project. I think it might take, like, I didn't time it, less than a couple hours for sure. So you could watch a couple good movies or binge watch something like The Crown, which is what I was watching when I was making this sample. And don't forget to snug that first stitch from the row so that there's no gap in between the needles that you're using. And then one more, needle 3, snug it. Carry that float. Okay, that's row 5, and now row 6 will complete the little polka dot. Let me get some more yarn. And it's going to be 1, 2, 8, 2, or just follow this pattern of 2 in the center for the blue, and then the rest are going to be the red. And now we got to do a red, and then a blue. And one more needle. I really like this color combination. Okay, we finished the polka dot for this section, so we just did this portion right here, and now we have 2 solid rows to do. And for the 2 solid rows, I'm going to carry the contrasting yarn in the back throughout the 2 rounds so that the tension is even throughout the rest of the piece. So even though I'm not needing the blue, I'm going to keep it in the back. And this is what it's looking like in the back. And one more needle. Okay, we finished that round. Now we need one more round of the solid color. So just repeat. And this is row 8. Oop. Some more yarn. Hopefully you're getting more comfortable using the double pointed needles. I always find the first couple rows to be uncomfortable, but then you get your rhythm. And if you've never made socks before, this is a great introduction to socks. It's an easier version, especially when I show you how to turn the heel. It's not as complicated as a sock pattern. But if you can make this and you haven't made socks before, then you'll be able to make socks after this. And then those would be great Christmas presents because it's a weekend project. And then it's a great gift. Who wouldn't want socks? who wouldn't want handmade socks from you? And who wouldn't want a Christmas stocking, a mini Christmas stocking? Remember, if you want this pattern written out for you instead of seeing it on this video, you can write mini stockings in the comment, or mini. Either one will work. So we finished the whole polka dot sequence. So we're gonna repeat this, but now we're gonna make it so we're in this section here of the polka dot. And if we're looking on this chart, we're gonna start working this section of the polka dots. And we're on row 9, and I have to knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 solids, 2 blue, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 2, 8, 2, 8 is the repeat. But we're gonna start with 6 of the red, and then 2 blue. And now 2 blue. And now we'll do 8 red. I'm going to carry that float by twisting it. Whoops. I've got a little knot in my yarn, so let's see if I can get that out before going any further. And if you are carrying the floats like I am, you're going to want to untwist your yarn. There's so many ways to knit this and do color work. And I say there's no wrong way to do it. There might be better ways to do it, but there's no wrong way, just like a language. So we've got 2, we've got to knit 6 more in the red. Two, 4, 6, 8. So now we have blue. Six more red. Okay, we have finished round 9. Now round 10, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 red, 4 blue, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'll be 4, 6, 4, 6, but we're going to start with the 5 of the red, or the base. So 4 blue, and 6 red. And twist. For blue, one red, 3. So we've done 1 red, now we have to do 5 more. Okay, completed the round, get some yarn ready. Now we're on row 11, and we're just going to repeat what we just did, so you can just follow the pattern on the needles. And then one more row. We're going to go back to the 2 stitches in the center to complete the polka dot. So it's going to be 2, 4, 6 red, 2 blue, and then 8 red. So it'll be 2 blue, 8 red, 2 blue, 8 red after the first needle stitches. So we'll do 6 here. Two blue, and then 8 red, do you hear that chicken outside? Two blue, 8 red, detangle this. Oops, getting a little tangled up. Two blue there, and now 2 red to finish the row. And that's our next polka dot. And now we're on row 13 and 14 are solid rows, and again I'm going to carry the contrasting yarn, the polka dot color, behind the red yarn to complete the polka dot sequence. So this is just solid color that I'm going to carry the blue yarn in the back. Looks like the tension in this polka dot is a little loose, but that's okay. When we block it, we can manipulate that if we want. Okay, one more round of solid for round 14. Just and final needle for the solid round. Okay, I'm just checking the tension on this. Now before I show you, let me detangle my yarns. And get it ready for the next rounds. And then, so now we've completed our second polka dot series. So we've just completed this portion here, and now we're going to do this next portion here. Okay, now we are in this section here of row 15, where it's 1 red, 2 blue, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it'll be 2, 8, 2, 8, 2, but we're going to start with the 1 red. And this color is looking really pretty. I really like the blue pop. So 1 red, and then we have 2 blue, and 8 red. Two, 4, 6, 7. 8, 2 blue, 8 red, 1 more red on the 3rd needle, 2 blue, and 8 red, row 16, 4 blue, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6. is the repeat. Start with the blue. And 6 red. For blue, I'm going to twist that too. I feel like my tension's tighter on this stocking than I normally do. So I'm not sure how that's going to make it size-wise when I finish the project after I block it. Because I'll show you something. Right now it's a little bit more narrow than the finished piece, but I blocked this piece. So that's my goal, is to block it and get it to the same width. So we're still on row 16 and we have one more needle. So 4 blue. And row 17 is going to be the same, 4 blue, 6 red. So you just repeat what's on the needle. That's row 17. Whoop. Some yarn out. For blue. Six red. This is what the inside is looking like so far. We are on row 18. And for this, we're doing the 2 dots to finish the polka dot. So we'll start with 1 red, 2 blue, 8 red, 2. So the repeat's 2, 8, 2, 8, 2. So start with the 1 red. Two blue, 8 red. And because I'm not doing a special technique for carrying the yarn over, some of the blue might sneak out in the piece, but to me it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me because you don't, I mean right here I blocked it and the red peeked out, but it's not that big a deal to me. If it bothers you, you'll have to work on finding how to carry the floats a more technical way. This is just for a quick, hopefully mindless, when you're working on color work. It's just a lesson in color work. And then you build your skills from this. So one more red. And 2 blue. 8 red. Okay. I did something wrong. Oh, look it. I already made a mistake here. I was supposed to carry 4 red. I'm sorry, I was supposed to carry 4 blue here, and I did 2 blue in this on this needle when it was supposed to be 4 blue. So I'm going to correct that. I'll show you how I correct that. The first one is supposed to be blue. So I'm going to take that stitch off the needle, put it onto my right needle, and then I'm going to pull out the next 2 stitches, even though they're correct. And I still have one more incorrect, so I'm going to go to the stitch below and grab that. And now I've got this red and blue floats behind me. So I'm going to put these back on the needle, on the left needle. And then I'm going to knit the blue strand in the back. And it's going to be a little tight because I didn't knit 2 of the stitches in blue in the previous row. Let's grab that. See how it's a little tight there. And now I'm going to put those back onto the left needle so then I can knit this next row. So do I have it, is it too loose a strand? It is. See how loose that is? So I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to pick up that strand on the first stitch by placing it on the needle. And I'm going to knit that strand with that blue stitch, which is going to be 1 red. Let's see if that corrects it. And it's pretty loose still, but I'm going to wait until and do the next 2 blues. And now the next stitch is red as well. So I'm going to take that loose strand and I'm going to place it on the needle. This stitch is backwards. I'm going to place that on the needle and then I'm going to knit those 2 together. It's not perfect, but it's going to keep the loose strand and make it so these stitches on either side of the polka dot aren't too loose. Oops, and you know what I did wrong here? That's supposed to be a red. So I hope that didn't confuse you. If you make the mistake though, know that you can fix it. This is a forgiving pattern. And voila. Let's finish this row. We have to do 8 reds. But even if you didn't correct it and you just wanted to go on, it's okay. It's still gonna look cute. Look how cute this is looking. Okay, so now the next 2 rows are row 19 and 20, and they're solid red. So we will knit red throughout the row by carrying the blue in the back. carry the red. There we go. What other stash projects will you make during the holidays? If you have some other yarn that you want to coordinate, you can make Christmas balls. You can look on my channel to see a tutorial on how to make those. It comes with a pattern. You can make pom-poms to go on this, make garlands. I think these would be cute as presents, and maybe put some money in for somebody, or lottery tickets, or another handmade gift inside this stocking would be cute. Little things, little pieces of jewelry would be lovely. Okay. So I've completed round 19 on here. It's a solid round, and there's one more solid round to go. But before I do that next solid round, I'm going to turn the heel. And the turning the heel isn't as technical as what you would do when you make a sock, but it has some of the techniques that are involved in sock making. And to make it turn, I'm going to do what's called a German short row. So this is a part that some people may hesitate to do, but it's really not that hard once you understand the concept. So for here, on needle 1, I'm going to knit the first 6 stitches in solid. I'm going to keep the blue yarn, but I'm not going to carry the float for the heel. I'm only going to work in the solid color red. Let me untangle it. Oops, there's one more. Okay, so do I have this untwisted? I'm only going to work with the solid color red. So I'll keep the blue out of the way, and I'm going to knit 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to leave the needles, the 4 needle, I'm going to leave the 4 stitches on the left needle, and I'm going to turn the work, and I'm going to work a purl row. I'm going to take the first stitch. This is why it's good to have your 5th needle. I'm going to take the needle in my right hand, and I'm going to slip stitch the first stitch by keeping the working yarn in the front towards me. Slip that first stitch purlwise onto the right needle. Now I'm going to grab the working yarn and pull that away from me towards the back, and it creates these 2 strands. I'm not creating 2 new stitches, I'm just creating these 2 strands that are going to give the turn for the heel. So I've got the 2 strands here, and now I need to purl the rest of the stitches on the left needle. And to do that, I have to, for purlwise, I have to wrap the yarn around towards the front. And now I'm going to purl these 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, whoop, and the other needles are in the way, of course, 4, 5. If you want to put the other stitches on a stitch holder, by all means go do it. I just feel like let's keep this as simple as possible. So I've done the German short row stitch, the 5 purls, and that's for one side of the heel. Now I have to work the other side of this heel. And to do that, I'm going to purl 6 stitches. And this is row 2 of the German short row. Now I'm going to take the stitches that are on my right needle, and I'm going to turn the work. And I don't have any spare needles again, so I'm going to use the needle that's on my right side, and I'm going to take the working yarn, even though it's a knit stitch, or the knit side, I'm going to put the working yarn towards the front, towards me. I'll slip stitch that first needle on the left. I'll slip stitch that first stitch on the left onto the right needle, and then take the working yarn and pull it towards the back to create those 2 strands. They might disappear as you're knitting, but they'll be there. And then I'm going to knit the next 5 stitches. This is row 3 of the German short rows. Now I'm going to go to the next side of the heel, and I'm going to knit up to the first German short row stitch. So that means that I'm going to be knitting 5 stitches before I get to that double stranded stitch. That's the German short row stitch. I'm going to leave that German short row stitch on the left needle, and then I'm going to turn my work to work row 4 of the German short rows. So now I have 1 German short row stitch on the right needle, and I'm going to have the working yarn towards me, and then slip the first stitch on the left needle onto the right needle purlwise, and pull that yarn away from me to create that double strand, and then wrap that yarn all the way around the needle and purl those 4 stitches left on the left needle. Now to complete row 4, I need to purl the 5 stitches that are on the left needle up to the first German short row stitch on that side of the heel. Now I've come to the double strand, and it looks like just a knot, but there's 2 strands there. And I'm not going to purl that. I'm going to turn my work to work row 5 of the German short row stitch. And I'm going to continue this until I get to 1 stitch on each side of this heel that I have not done a German short row stitch on. So for row 5, I'm going to knit the 5 stitches to the center marker, which is right here. You can move this up if it helps to remind you where the center of the heel is. So knit the 5 stitches on the left needle. And now we're going to knit the next 4 stitches on the left needle that goes up to the last German short row stitch that you created. So here's the double strand of the German short row stitch. I'll leave those on my left needle. I'll turn the work, and I'll have the yarn towards me, slip the first stitch on the left needle onto my right needle, pull the working yarn away from me and wrap it around the needle so that I can purl the remaining 3 stitches on that left needle. And this is row 6. So I've got to work the other side of the heel, and I'm going to purl the next 4 stitches up to the last German short row I did on that side. There's the last German short row stitch I did, so I'm going to keep those stitches on the left needle, turn the work to the knit side, and now we'll work row 7 by doing the German short row, yarns in front towards me, slip the first stitch purlwise, pull the yarn away, and then knit the remaining 3 stitches on the left needle. And then knit the 3 stitches on this left needle up to the last German short row stitch I completed on that side. Turn the work, and now we're on row 8 of the German short row. Yarns in front, slip the first stitch purlwise to the right needle, pull yarn to the back and around the needle, and then purl the 2 stitches on the left needle. Work the other side of the heel, and you're going to purl 3 stitches up to the last German short row stitch on that side of the heel. And now we're on row 9. We'll turn the work, yarns in the front, slip the stitch purlwise, pull yarn to the back, and then knit 2 stitches to the center of the heel. And now the other side of the heel, you're going to knit 2 stitches. Now we'll turn the work. Row 10 of German short row. Slip the first stitch with the yarn towards you, pull the yarn away and around the needle, and purl that 1 stitch to the center of the heel. Now we're going to work the other side of the heel. We're going to purl those 2 stitches. And then for row 11, we're going to turn the work, do 1 German short row stitch by having the yarn in front, slip the stitch to the right needle, pull the yarn in the back, and then knit that 1 stitch. Now don't go any further than this. What you have here are 5 German short row stitches on the right needle and 5 German short row stitches on the left needle. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm putting down my extra needle, and I'm just going to work with these 2 needles here. This is the beginning of the row. In fact, I'll put the marker here just to remind me and you where we're at. This is the center of the heel. This is right here on the stocking. So what we need to do now is we didn't increase the stitches. All we did was we made it so it would curve and turn like that. And to get them back to normal stitches, you can then knit your first stitch, which doesn't have a German short row stitch on it. And then you're going to knit each of these German short row stitches as 1 stitch. So take the 2 strands, like you're knitting 2 together. You're knitting the 2 strands together, and there's your 1 stitch. Here's the 2 strands, knit it together. Here's the 2 strands, knit together, 2 strands, knit together, and then the 2 strands, knit together. So I've got 2, 4, 6 stitches. And now I'm going to finish this row by knitting the entire round of the stocking. So I'll just stay with the needle. So I'm going to get it back to 10 stitches per needle, since I'm using 3 needles really. So I'm just going to knit this as normal. And now we'll do the needle number 2. And now on the other side of the heel, I'm going to knit the first 4 stitches, which are normal. Notice I didn't carry the blue yarn yet. I could have, but it's easier for me to just start once the German short row stitches have been knit into regular stitches. So I've knit the first 4 stitches, and now the next 5 are those German short row stitches. So I'm going to knit the 2 strands together so it becomes 1 strand. 2 strands together. Get in there. Hello. And then this is 2 strands. Wow, those crows sure are cawking. And then 1 more German short row stitch. My tension is super tight on this project today. And then the last stitch is a normal stitch. And now I've completed turning the heel. Let's see what this looks like. So you don't quite see it yet, but this will make that turn into the foot section. So now we're going to resume the foot section starting on row 21. So now I'm ready to start the foot section, which is this polka dot here to here. And that begins on row 21 of this chart. So I'm going to knit the first 6 stitches in red and then do a repeat of 2 blue, 8 red, 2 blue, 8 red. And then we will get the polka dots started on this section. So I'm going to show you a new color work technique on carrying the floats. So before I was mentioning to just carry it however you want, and I wasn't using any specific technique, and that's how I've been doing it for years, and it's worked just fine. But recently I came across this technique online and I thought it was really fluid and consistent, and right now in my life I'm working on being decluttered and living a minimalist way, and this just aligns with what I'm dealing with in my own personal life at the moment. So it works for me, and I'll show you the difference because I did the leg portion willy-nilly, and now I'll do the foot portion consistently and with a certain technique that's supposed to make it flatter. And it's really fun to do. It just takes getting used to learning how to do it. So I'm going to show you here. So I have to do 6 stitches in red. So I'm going to knit the first 3 stitches because I usually carry the float every 2 or 3 stitches. And I'm carrying these 2 yarns with my right hand just by spacing them with the red and the blue in between the fingers. So to carry this float in this technique, you're going to put the main yarn towards the front and the contrasting yarn in the back, which it already is. And then from your palm up towards the ceiling, you're going to put your middle finger in between the 2 colors, and then you'll be able to hold the red yarn with your thumb and index finger, and then also move the back yarn, the blue yarn, with your index finger or any finger that works. But you want the palm up when you have your yarns in between your fingers. And then you're going to knit that 4th stitch. Just insert the right needle into the stitch as you normally would. And you're going to take the contrasting yarn, in this case the blue, and you're going to wrap it around the right needle clockwise, which is the opposite way you're normally knitting, because you normally knit by wrapping the yarn counterclockwise like that. So the yarn in the back goes first and it goes under the main color like that. So there's the X. And then wrap around the right needle clockwise, and then take your main color and wrap it around knitwise or counterclockwise. Don't let go of the yarns yet. Now take your index finger and pull the contrasting yarn over the main yarn. So blue yarn over the red like that, and you've got that X again. And then complete that knit stitch as you see there. Now the next stitch, the contrasting yarn's on top of the red yarn, and that's fine. Don't let go of your yarns yet. Just knit that next stitch as normal by catching that blue contrasting yarn inside like that, and then you've caught your float and it looks like that. So we'll do that again. We did 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 2, 4, 6, up. Now I got to do my pattern. We'll get it to in the next section. So now I have to do 8 red. So here we'll do a couple of the floats. Here's 2. Here, I'll do it here because this is a good section to do it. So I've got my palm up, yarns in between my fingers. And then I'm going to take the blue and cross it over the yarn clockwise, and then take the red and knit and wrap that around knitwise. Grab the blue again and grab it over the red yarn and knit as normal. And now we're going to do 3 more stitches. 1, 2, 3. And what does that make us for stitch? 2, 4, 6. So we have 6 stitches here. So I'm going to do it again. Insert the right needle in knitwise. Wrap the contrasting yarn clockwise around the needle and main yarn counterclockwise. Grab the contrasting yarn and pull it over the main yarn, and then finish that knit stitch with the red yarn. And then 1 more stitch to close in that float. And there you go. And you don't even need to let go of your fingers if you're doing a lot of carrying floats, which I'll show you on a solid row after this polka dot's complete. You don't have to let go of that positioning of your fingers, and it becomes really rhythmic. So now we have 2, 4, 6, 8. So now we'll do 2 blue. And now 8 red. So you've got, and you know you're doing it wrong if it doesn't catch, if that makes sense. 2, 4, 5, 6. Here's that carrying the float. Wrap around, wrap off, knit, and then catch, and then, oops, 2, 4, 6, 8, and now we have blue. And then 2 more stitches left in the row. And that's what the turning of the heel is looking like so far. And now we're working on row 22, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red, then 4 blue, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 4, 6, 4, 6. But the first one's going to be 5. And the reason I don't have the polka dots starting first is because somehow it gets lost if it's the first polka dot, and I don't want that. So we're going to do 5 red. And it does get tangled. You just have to untangle it as you go if you want. Here we go. All right, we're gonna carry this. So I gotta put the yarns in position, and we gotta do the blue, red, blue, hit. There we go. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I want the dominant color on top. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to just do all 4 stitches without carrying a float. And then the 1 red. And now we'll do 5 more. So there's 1, 2, 3. We'll carry the float. 4, 5, and here we go, 4 blue. Now we have 5 red. And, oops, we're doing 6 red. What did I do then? Ah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 4 blue. And then 1 red. Row 23 is going to be the same as the previous row, so we'll just follow the pattern that's already on the needle. It's getting a little twisted here, so I'm just going to turn this to detwist. I usually do it at the beginning of the row, but it was bothering me enough to make me untwist it now. Okay. Where are we? Here we go. Okay, and then we're finishing up the polka dot. We're on row 24. So it's going to be 6 red, 2 blue, and then 8 red. So 2 blue, 8 red is the repeat. But we'll start with the 6 red. Now 8 red. glass needle. Okay, we gotta carry the float. Give a little tug. All right, we finished the polka dot. So we are going to do 2 rows of the solid colors. So rows 25 and 26 are going to be red, and I'm going to carry the contrasting yarn along with the red just to give it the consistent knit, tension. So we'll do 1 here, we'll carry the float. And I gotta make sure my hands are positioned right. Okay, we have finished row 24. No, we finished row 25. So 1 more row of solids for row 26. Okay, we have finished row 20. We've finished row 26, and it's starting to look like the foot portion where it has the nice turn, and here's the turn here. And now we're going to work the last polka dot, and that's starting in row 27. So it's going to be 1 red, 2 blue, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The repeats 2, 8, 2, 8. So 1 red, 2 blue, we begin. Two, 4, 6, 7. One more red here. 2 blue. 8 red. Two, 4, 6, 7. One more red. Two blue. 8 red. But we only need 7 because we're finishing the row. Okay. Next is row 28. 4 red, 4 blue, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 blue, 6 red, 4, 6, 4, 6 is the repeat for row 28. So 4 blue. We untangle. For blue, six red, and 4 blue. And then 6 red. Row 29, I have 4 blue, 6 red, and that's the repeat, and I'm just following the stitches that are already on the needle for this round. So since blue is the color I'm working on, I want that towards the top, and the red I want towards the bottom. Because right now they're positioned where the blue is in the back, and I don't want that. So I flipped it around to detangle. Blue is on top, and I'm going to knit 4. And now red's the next, so I'm going to switch. Red is on top. On top of, like on my index finger. Let's use that as the rule of thumb. That's easier. And that way I already have it in position to do that technique where I have to carry the float for the blue, so I have to wrap that around clockwise. Knit yarn is wrapped around as normal. Grab the blue yarn and take that off the needle, and then finish that knit stitch. Voila. And then catch that float with the next stitch. And now we're back to 4 blue. Whoops. 6 red. Just a couple more rows and we'll be finished with the foot. For blue. And 6 red. And now our final polka dot round, which is round 30. We're going to start with 1 red, 2 blue, and then 8 red, and it'll be 2, 8, 2, 8, the repeat. So we'll start with our 1 red, 2 blue, 8 red, 2 blue, and 8 red, and then last needle for the polka dot round. 1 more red, 2 blue, and then this one's going to be 7 red to finish the round. And then we finished that round. Now we're going to do one more round for the chart. So now I'm going to do this final round with just the red and weave in the blue yarn tail, so I don't have to worry about weaving that in while working on the shaping the toe. So we'll do this final round in the red, and I'm going to weave in this yarn tail just by crossing it over the red in alternating directions. So that was down. Now I'm going to cross it up towards me, and then knit that stitch, insert the needle into knit, cross this yarn tail down away from me and then knit. Insert the needle, grab the yarn tail and pull it towards me and knit. And just do this for like 6 stitches is probably pretty good, and that'll lock it in. 2, 4, 6, and then you don't have to weave it in later, because most people find that part a real hassle, but it has to get done. And so one way I deal with it is I weave it in as I go, especially if it's not like a project that needs specific techniques, because I like to not be restricted often by knitting a certain way just to get a result. I like it to be a little more free and wild. But I also like my yarn tails woven in as I go, so I don't have to think about it later. So get that yarn tail out of the way. Alright, so this is the foot portion. This is where we are so far right here. So we finished this section, and now all that we have left to do is the toe section. And the toe section is just going to be a matter of repeating the following rows to shape the following rows to shape the toe. I'm going to do this first row as knit 3, knit 2 together, and then the second row is knit 2, knit 1 together, and the third row is knit 1, knit 2 together. So we'll start with row 1 here, knit 3, knit 2 together, and do that for the rest of this row. Knit 3, knit 2 together, knit 3, knit 2 together, knit 3, knit 2 together, and last needle, knit 3, knit 2 together, and the final decrease, knit 3, knit 2 together. Okay, when you normally decrease like that, you knit a row in between, but I want to get this effect of just narrowing it down for the toe section quickly. So the next round in the toe section, round 2, is going to be knit 2, knit 2 together. So knit 2, knit 2 together, 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 and then knit 2, knit 2 together, knit 2, and knit 2 together. Okay, now this round is round 3 of the toe, and it's knit 1, knit 2 together. So knit 1, knit the next 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, knit 1, okay, and then one more round. It's really coming together now. We're going to knit 2 together throughout the piece. So knit 2 together, knit 2 together, two together, and then the last 4, knit 2 together here, and knit 2 together here. Now we're left with 6 stitches in the round. I'm going to cut a yarn tail about 10 inches, and I'm going to then slip this yarn tail through the remaining 6 stitches. So I'm going to slip it through, pull it off the needle, slip it through, slip, and slip, 2 more, and voila, there she is. So here we have the finished foot, and I am going to turn it inside out now to clean it up a little bit. I have to weave in a few yarn tails and just block it because it's just not as pretty as the other examples yet, and we can make it even prettier. So this is what it's looking like on the inside of the stocking before blocking. Now I've done the technique on the foot. So this is what it looks like down on the foot with a consistent technique, and this is what it looks like on the leg. And it's not a huge difference, so it really just is a preference. So I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to weave in that yarn tail, that long one, if I can catch it, pull it in, and this I'm just taking my crochet hook and I'm catching some bumps to pull it through and tighten it. Really, I'm not doing any special work here again to make it all technical. This is just finding a bump and making a slip knot through it. These loose threads I already wove in, so I'm going to cut those. this piece here was the tail of casting on, and there's a little gap right here. So I'm just going to clean that up by inserting my crochet hook into the first stitch and grabbing the yarn tail and then pulling it over to that first stitch. And I'm just closing that little gap. And then I'm going to feed that back through. And then I'm going to feed that through the bumps down below. And I know that there's a really neat way to weave in your yarn tails through the bumps. But like I say, for this ornament, I am just going to do it free-handed like this and not worry about any special techniques, because I'm happy the way it's looking already and I don't need to worry about hiding any yarn tails or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to do a blocking of this just to give it the shape I want. And I have a little steamer, which I love. I just got it. I've used an iron for years to steam, and that's fine. But this little Conair, was only 20 bucks. And it works really nice. So I'm just going to get my piece a little wet. And then I'm just going to stretch it how I want the shape. Not too much. I could pin this. Ooh, look at that. That was perfect. So I hope that the camera stops steaming. I'm going to press this. The camera got too wet, so I had to turn it off. Now I'm going to turn it right side out. And we're going to shape this section here. It's really looking cute. And I like the curl, so I'm going to try and keep the ridge curling like that, a rolled hem. And I'll just get this a little wet. And then we'll get this side a little wet. Now if this was wool, you could really block well. This is acrylic, so you have to be gentle with it and make sure not to stretch it too much. Because acrylic isn't meant to fuse together with the yarn as well as wool would be. But the only thing left I need to do is create a little hook for it. So I'm going to chain, I'll do a hand crochet and I'll do 20 little loops. And you know what? I think I will place it in, I'll do it later. I'm going to do a hand crochet, and if you don't know how to do that, it's, you could use your crochet hook, or you could braid, or just Google how to hand crochet, or if you see how I'm doing it here, then that will work too. This is just really quick and neat. And so I'm going to do about 20, like I said, or 2 inches worth. Let's see if that'll work. That's good for me. So I'm going to cut this, and then I'm going to now weave this into the corner here. I'm going to do it after the trim, so like where the red row starts, because then I can not have it show on the trim part, and it'll still look really pretty for the trim. And I'm just weaving in those yarn tails of each end of that loop, and then I'm going to tie a little knot here. And now you can use this for your lovely gifts that you give to someone, like a hostess at a party, or there could be some jewelry inside here, or loads of gifts. Another thing you can do is just use it as a garland decoration. I'm going to cut this a little bit, and then I'm going to weave this down a little bit more to secure it so that these strands aren't coming out from the top. All right, and I'm going to tie one more knot because that's how I want to end it. And then I'm going to cut it. And voila! I love how this turned out. It's just the opposite colors of this, but look at what a difference it is, right? So here you go. And remember, if you want the written pattern sent to you, just comment mini stocking in the comments below, and I will send you a link to get that PDF so you could print it out for yourself or save it for yourself. Otherwise, let me know how your mini stocking turned out. I really appreciate you staying and watching how to do this. I hope this tutorial helped you. And until next time, happy knitting and happy holidays. If you want to support the K4 project, you can go to my website at thek4project.com and purchase this pattern. And when you make a purchase, a portion of the proceeds goes towards helping animals in need. So thank you.